absolutely part of the process to audit all existing brand assets in all channels, because and try to understand and distill the why behind the brand assets, and using their own learnings to understand what has been resonating with the consumer, and then doing some of our own primary research to better understand what of those assets are resonating with the consumer, and then really going to town to go, how do we continue to build on that brand in an ownable way that truly honors the value proposition?
Hello, and welcome to The Marketing Architects, a research-first podcast dedicated to answering your toughest marketing questions. I'm Elena Hingle. I run the marketing team here at Marketing Architects, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Angela Voss, our CEO, and Rob DeMars, our Chief Product Architect.
Hello, Elena.
Hello. We are back with our thoughts on some recent marketing news, always trying to root our opinions in data, research, and what drives business results. Today, we're talking about distinctive assets. What are distinctive assets and what do they do for your brand? How should you choose them and use them? We'll get into this and more today, but first, let's start with an article. This week's is from Neve Carroll at MarketingWeek, and it's titled, "Only 15% of brand assets are truly distinctive." Carroll points out that distinctive brand assets, which include visual and auditory features of brands like logos, slogans, color palettes, and mascots, are seen by many as crucial to mental availability. And the Ehrenberg Bass Institute has been a key thought leader for distinctive assets, emphasizing how they build brand salience. And the Institute defines distinctive assets as non-brand name elements that can trigger the brand into memory for category buyers. However, a recent study from Ipsos and Jones Knowles Ritchie analyzed over 5,000 brand assets, and they found that 1 in 5, or just 15%, are truly distinctive. They did this through a survey of 26,000 global consumers. They tested their perceptions of a mix of brands and assets, and then they graded those assets and put them into 3 categories: bronze, silver, and gold. The assets that made it to the gold tier were considered truly distinctive, so they immediately brought the brand to mind. Bronze assets, on the other hand, are unlikely to bring the brand to mind when seen in isolation, and 65% of the assets they tested fell into this bronze category. Now, you might think logos have the best chance of being distinctive, but less than 1 in 5, or just 19% of brand logos, made it to the gold category. The researchers found that the design of the logo wasn't the important part, it's all about sustained use. And this rule applied to any other brand asset, whether it's colors, typography, or mascots. However, there are brand assets which are harder to make distinctive than others. For brand slogans and color performed extremely poorly. Only 4% of brand colors achieved gold status and just 6% of slogans. The product was the brand asset most likely to achieve gold status. Almost 1/3, or 31%, were truly distinctive. Brand characters also did fairly well, with almost 1 in 5, or 16%, scoring gold. The study concludes by warning that a brand's distinctiveness cannot be created by using these codes in isolation. You need to have a level of consistency and understanding of your brand in order to create distinctiveness. So that's our article for the week. And Rob, I wanted to ask first if you were surprised by this 15% stat. It seemed really low to me, and I was wondering if that's because of just the struggle of creating and choosing assets that are truly distinctive within all the clutter today, or is this more of an advertising spend problem, aka, are you putting enough weight behind your brand assets to create memories for consumers?
So I have an opinion that I might be stoned for if we had a live audience. I've read a lot about this from a variety of research players. Do either of you know the highest scoring asset type, meaning the type of brand asset that drives the most recognition and correct brand attribution? I'll give you some options because there's a lot to choose from. But so best one, from celebrity, tagline, which I think Elena already told us that's not it, sound mark, character, and jingle.
I'm going jingle.
I'm going to say character.
Okay. Both good guesses. Rob's got it right. Jingle's the correct answer. So if you look at Google Trends on the search term jingles, you'll see that there's less than half of the activity that we saw 20 years ago. And we, having our roots in radio, know the power of audio is so huge. But I think our industry, getting back to your question and being surprised about the 15%, I'm not surprised. Our industry has seen a massive shift in marketing spend away from very powerful channels that deliver audio and or audio and video really well, right? Radio and television. that spend now going more towards digital, where there's less audio and just a medium that's just not as conducive for something like a jingle, which has been proven very effective to recall those memories and create that mental availability. So you're right, 15%, that's, it sounds low, but when you think about how marketing investment has shifted over the years and how that has impacted distinctive asset strategy just merely due to the medium, it sort of starts to make sense a bit.
Personally, I think that weight of media definitely plays into, the stickiness of an asset, but also patience is the other one. Understandably, brands are looking for immediate sales from their assets, which oftentimes the most distinctive assets are not going to translate into that immediate response. So the ability to seed distinctive assets and then have the patience to see them through. I think CMOs get tired of their assets faster than consumers do. And of course, new CMOs come in, and regardless of how well the assets are doing, they want change because that's what they feel like they're getting paid for. So I think that's also another barrier to the creation of those assets.
That's such a good point, Rob. Like the CMO role, is the shortest tenure in the whole C-suite. And so someone comes in and they're brought in to make change. So it's pretty bold to come in and say, we're not changing anything, right?
Those are both great points. One, that just marketing mixes have changed. And with a paid search ad, how many distinctive assets are you going to be able to showcase if most of your marketing spend is going towards like a bottom of the funnel channel like search? And then, yeah, Rob, the amount of change. And also now today it's easier than ever to change your assets and redo your brand. And so that's definitely probably more of a temptation than it was before.
That is so much harder even in digital because your brand is left to an algorithm that's choosing the best click-through rate. So how do you try to manage your brand? It doesn't care what your brand looks like. It's just trying to, monetize the placement of it. So that makes it that much harder.
It's that short and long-term balance for sure. And so I did want to talk about our own experience because we're a television agency. So we bring brands onto TV, the biggest marketing stage that there is. And TV is a great way to showcase distinctive assets and build that mental availability. And we work with a wide variety of brands, and they're all different sizes and they come from different industries. But one thing I wanted to ask you is, do our clients, when they come to us, do they typically have clear distinctive assets when they begin working with us?
Some of them do, some of them don't. It's definitely not a one size fits all. That's something that, sometimes we'll work with them on. It's not something that we'll typically tackle right out of the gate, right? When brands are coming to us to launch television or streaming, it's something that typically comes down the road once we've proven success with the medium and we have success with those shorter term activations. Then it's more about, now let's turn our heads towards ensuring that we're setting the client up to win the long game as well.
So Rob, say that they do come to us with distinctive assets. How does your team look at those? How do you take them into consideration? You used to run the creative team at MA. When they're creating a TV spot, what do they do with the distinctive assets?
It's absolutely part of the process to audit all existing brand assets in all channels because and try to understand and distill the why behind the brand assets and using their own learnings to understand what has been resonating with the consumer, and then doing some of our own primary research to better understand what of those assets are resonating with the consumer, and then really going to town to go, how do we continue to build on that brand in an ownable way that truly honors the value proposition? But if at the end of the day, we produce an asset that you could have thrown any other logo on of their competitors and it would still make sense, then we haven't done our job. Then it's not truly distinctive in terms of not just creating something that's memorable, but that's creating something memorable within their category that's ownable to them. And that does mean, we need to make sure that we're creating assets that have legs, because you want the assets to be something that can translate into all your different channels so that it really rises, all the different communications rises the same brand boat. So is that distinctive asset not just a one-off, but something that can truly sing as a chorus with all your communication?
Yeah, and that's probably not easy. If it has to be both ownable, it has to be unique, it has to have long-term potential. Those are not easy things to do. And I would think that TV is a great channel to build a distinctive brand asset. Do we have any examples of how we've maybe elevated a client's distinctive brand asset using television?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I think, like I said before, every client's in a unique position on this topic. We work in the D2C space with newer brands and then also with billion-dollar entities that have been around a really long time and kind of everything in between. So in some cases, brands have come to us with great distinctive assets. And to your point, television is a great channel to amplify those with. I think about a brand like nuts.com, an online supplier of snacking and baking products. They came to us during the pandemic and had already developed some great assets with their distinctive little nutty characters. And they've got hand-drawn typography and illustrations that are used everywhere on their website, on the packaging, even on your box when it arrives on your front porch. It's very distinctive, very colorful, cheerful, memorable. And that's so fun to build off from. You already have these little nutty characters. And of course, working in television, we can just bring those to life in a lot of fun ways to create those memories. Like I mentioned before, we're big believers in the power of audio. And so audio sound marks, or mnemonics, we call them, are an area that we really like to play in. It's a great area for television as well. Obviously, working in CTV and TV only, we're a bit limited. When you think about distinctive assets, they really do need to sing together across an entire marketing ecosystem. But audio is a great place for us to start, and build from there.
And you mentioned earlier how effective but undervalued jingles are as a distinctive brand asset. And one thing I was wondering when I was looking into this topic is there a certain type of distinctive brand asset that performs best in TV in particular? Because that's where our expertise is. So Rob, I was wondering, has your team in the past found that like a mascot might be more memorable than a logo? Like, have you ever gotten into those details of distinctive brand assets?
So I hardly ever agree with Angela, right? That's just the truth.
That's true.
But I do think that audio is the most under-leveraged brand asset. I think we don't think of it. It's not the first thing that comes to mind. But yes, with television, especially we've talked ad nauseum about how more people are actually listening to TV than watching TV because of secondhand viewing. And therefore, audio is such an incredible asset. I mean, there's a reason why we use the term earworm when we talk about a jingle. It goes in there and it just doesn't go away. And in many ways, we actually hate the jingle because it sticks with us. It's like that song, that number one song that at first you love, and then you wake up in the middle of the night and you just, if I had hair, I'd pull my hair out, but I don't. But you guys do. But we've seen it ourselves. We created a jingle that was sung on the Tonight Show because it was memorable and it stuck in the celebrities' heads. And so just, when asked, they were able to start singing it. I would go so far as to say some jingles will make you throw up in your mouth. So Ange, finish this. Save big money at
Menards.
Right? And like, who does not hate that jingle? But man, you sing it in your head every time you drive by that store. So I'll continue to double down with Ange on audio being, really one of the most under-leveraged ways to create a distinctive asset.
We use the word earworm a lot at Marketing Architects, and I still hate it every time I hear it. Even 5 years later, it's just the worst word. My current earworm stuck in my head is Burger King's You Rule, their Whopper commercial. But I like that one. I really enjoyed that jingle. Rob, I had another question for you. You're all in on AI and how AI is impacting marketing. Do you think that that's going to change? Just the idea of distinctive brand assets. When brands are able to create so many different creative versions at the snap of a finger, how are they going to stay consistent?
I think this is where AI can actually be super useful. I just had a conversation yesterday with Joel, who heads up our AI at Marketing Architects, on this very topic about how it can really be a tool for creatives. You can feed an LLM a central idea or an idea you already have in the campaign, and it can continue to iterate on that idea and give you different scenarios within your idea to show how it has legs. And then maybe 2 of the 10 that they give you are good, but that's fantastic, right? It's already helping you kind of accelerate your big idea. I think LLMs do an amazing job of being able to dissect the different components of an ad to help you understand what makes it campaignable. Even going so far as you can create a scoring system within an LLM to load in your idea, and it will help rank the different variables that you're looking at on their level of distinctiveness. So I actually think AI is going to play a huge role in helping create even better campaigns and distinctive assets in the future.
Yeah, that's a great point, that it's going to help probably brands of all sizes too be able to like determine their distinctive brand assets and prioritize them. And I like that take on it. Before we wrap up with a little secret game I have planned, I wanted to get practical for listeners for a second. So, Ange, if I'm a marketer and I want to prioritize building mental availability with distinctive brand assets, where would you recommend I start?
Well, I think start by examining your brand, right? Identifying the elements that could potentially become distinctive assets. These can be logos, although, logos colors don't do as well. Mascots, jingles, taglines, even certain sounds associated with your brand. But remember, the key is uniqueness and really potential for fame. And then once you've identified those potential assets, conducting that research to evaluate their current recognition and association with your brand. I think this is where, Rob's recommendation on AI could be helpful for where do you find the white space if you don't already have it? And then I think additionally, tools like Ehrenberg Bass has their distinctive asset grid can be very helpful in this process. It helps to understand which elements are already working well, which ones potentially need to be rethought, or maybe just need more investment. And then, use these distinctive assets consistently across your marketing channels. The consistency helps in reinforcing the brand's identity in the minds of your consumers. It's not just about repetition, but, ensuring that asset is presented in a way that is coherent with the brand's overall messaging and with their values as well. And then just keep an eye on how these are performing over time. Market trends and consumer preferences can change. So it's important to just be mindful of what that might be doing to your strategy. We don't want to be modifying distinctive assets a lot. That's kind of the purpose of having them, is keeping them consistent, but having awareness to how the market might be responding to certain elements is important as well.
Well, speaking of consistent brand assets, I came up with a little game I wanted to play, and I haven't told Rob and Ange about this, so this will be completely off the cuff, but I have some different categories of brand assets that I think have been used consistently enough that you should be able to guess what brand it comes from.
Oh, no.
She said game. She meant quiz. This is a test.
Yes, this is a test. There is judgment. Yes. Well, I tested this on my fiance, who's not in advertising, and he got most of them right. So I'm going to say, if you don't get most of these right, that is going to be concerning. We'll start easy with mascots. All right. Category 1, mascots. So whoever has it can just go ahead and say it. That's how I'm running this game.
Okay.
First, gecko.
Geico.
A tiger.
Frosted Flakes.
Yeah.
Yep. A white duck.
Aflac.
Yep. Rob. An emu.
Liberty Mutual.
Yep. A cheetah.
Cheetos.
Oh man, that was like a tie.
That was me, for sure.
No way. Your internet's slow.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, we're gonna move on from that. All right, a tooth.
Benny. Physicians Mutual.
Yep. Perfect.
God dang it.
All right, next category, slogans. Number 1, just do it.
Nike.
I'm loving it.
McDonald's.
Think different.
Apple.
There you go, Rob. Had to get that one.
See, on my end, I answered that before him.
The happiest place on earth.
Disney World.
It's Ange.
No way. She said Disney. I said Disney World, and I said it at the same time. She just said Disney.
That's noted. Thanks, Rob. Have it your way.
Burger King.
Yeah.
We try harder.
Hertz.
No.
Avis.
Yep.
It's Avis.
Oh, I did not know that one.
When you're number 2, you have to try harder.
Yep. That's bad. You said their competitor, though. That's not good news for Avis. All right. America runs on
Duncan.
Oh, dang it. Yes.
There you go. Okay, Rob is winning by 1 point.
Oh, jeez.
Next category, logos. A silver apple with a bite taken out of one side.
Apple.
Apple.
Sorry, Rob. Red cursive script on a white background.
Chick-fil-A?
Oh, Airbnb.
These ones are getting hard. I was thinking Coca-Cola.
Oh,
But-
yeah. Duh.
I mean, there are multiple answers to these.
That's
Okay.
true.
Yeah.
Next, a green circular logo with a twin-tailed mermaid.
Starbucks.
A red
Oh,
bullseye
good one.
logo.
Target.
Yep. 3 black stripes forming a mountain shape.
Adidas.
Well, technically, Ange won.
Dang it.
That's it for this episode of The Marketing Architects. We'd like to thank Ayana Klapaki for producing the show and Taylor De Los Reyes for editing. You can connect with us on LinkedIn, and if you find our show valuable, please leave us a rating and review. Now go forth and build great marketing.
I'm winning these, right? My internet is
No,
not
you're
killing me.
No, you're winning.
No
You're winning. Well,
way. No
you're,
way.
Actually, you're both tied at the moment.
I was going to say we are tied. I'm with you on that.
Yeah,
We're
I think
tied.
we're going to have to consult the producers. Like, we're going to have to
agree.
timestamp
We're gonna need-
because
Yep, yep.
I'm very
We
competitive.
might not even get through this at this point. I need you to focus.
Let's see if the two of you can get this sound. Ho, ho, ho.
Green Giant.
There we go.
Wait, Ange, this is my game. You can't just take over.
I like Ange's better.
I'm not done yet. with the game.
Oh, sorry. Keep going.
Okay. All right. This is
I just want to
so
stop the
stupid.
game when I'm ahead. Like, that's all. I need to win.